The cowbells are ringing, the fans are cheering, and there's a little bit of that late October chill that fills the air for this 37th edition of the Austintown Fitch Falcons versus the Warren G. Harding Raiders. In these 36 previous matches, the Falcons lead this all-time series 19-17. It's always a toss-up game. It's always a 50-50 game regardless of records. Throw them out the window. But both these teams do have good records coming into today. Both have winning records and both fighting for playoff positioning. The Falcons are 7-2 coming into tonight, while the Raiders are 6-3. Although the All-American Conference does not exactly exist in football, these two teams face each other every single year, and these are also kids that face each other in other sports as it exists in basketball and beyond in other sports as well. So these are guys that are all too familiar with one another, and it's been a rivalry, a heated rivalry, for the better part of the last decade plus. Falcons to get possession to start off here. As kicking away, that is Jerron Edmonds, sophomore for the Raiders. Raiders donning their gold unis with the black numbering, black helmets. The Falcons, and they're all navy unis with the red numbering. The navy helmets with the block F. From the 40, trying to spot kick, and Falcons going to recover it just inside the 40. Call it at the 37-yard line. And on top of that was Ross Harris. So Fitch to take over. First down at the 40 is where they're going to spot it. Falcons coming off of a big win against the Boardman Spartans, a longtime rival last week right here in Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium, notching their 7th win of the season. Led by Colin Gallagher. At quarterback, young sophomore are the Falcons. Hand off to Richard. DeAndre Richard uses that big frame and gets himself a healthy chunk of yardage. Call it 8, it looks like. Back it up 7 on the first down run. Second down and 3. Both these teams, you can expect them to keep the ball on the ground primarily, but they do have the threat of putting it in the air. As we get into the later into October and even into November, weather starts to cool down. Falcons looking for a shot early on, as intended target that time was Braden Bryant. But it was not to be, as great coverage. Looked like that was number 8, Steven Sims, the senior, on the coverage, defensive back. So call it 3rd and short. Falcons wanted to take their shot. Now look to convert it, needing 3. Still on their own side of the field at their own 47-yard line. First down is midfield. We'll stack it up. Single receiver to the left. Hand it off. Richard looking for a hole. He'll find one. Get past the chains onto the Raiders side of the field. Call it the 49 and a first down, Falcons. Falcons, 2 losses this year, coming to the Ursuline Fighting Irish and also to Erie McDowell. Both of those coming on the road. Fitch has not lost here at home this year. If they are able to win tonight, things fall in place. They could be set up for 2 potential playoff games here at home. Obviously, you got to take care of business in Week 11. Both these teams, we said, fighting for playoff positioning. Gallagher again, the handoff to Richard. Raiders minimize the gain that time to just 2. And it's 2nd and 8. Last year's edition of this matchup, the Falcons won it 14-13. Slim edge, and like we said, always a close game between these two. Raiders, who jumped first? Raiders crossed the line, but did someone force it from the Falcons side on a false start? They call encroachment on the Raiders. So that'll be a 5-yard penalty. Push the Falcons forward. Taking the snap out of the shotgun, play action. Went into the flat, nice tackle on second down. Making the completion to DeAndre Reed, but beautiful tackling. So call it third down. 3rd and 7. Falcons now with 3rd down. Out of the shotgun, Gallagher takes the snap, play action again on the fake to Reed, looking down the middle now, taking off with his legs, lost the football, and it looks like the Falcons may have held on to it, but it will be 4th down. So it will go as a gain off of the fumble technically, but 4th down and looks like 3, 4, check that. Now up for Fitch. Marky Fitzgerald makes a call and everyone moves. And whistle's going to be blown. Timeout taken by the Falcons on 4th down. It'll be their first, coming with 8:03 remaining here in quarter number 1. So with 4th down now for the Falcons, 8:03 remaining here in the first quarter. Decision time for Coach Parker's squad. You are in Harding territory, sitting on the Raiders' 43-yard line, kind of set up in no man's land for a punt. You're too far for the field goal here, obviously, and punting-wise, you might just only be able to set up a touchback unless you can angle it and try to pin them back. It's all about field positioning. Are you willing to give up letting the Raiders start from their own 43 if you can't convert here? I'm going to stack it up. Single receiver out to the left. Couple extra tight ends. Snap, hand it off. Keep it with Richard. They just straight challenged it with the running attack. And DeAndre Richard pushes the chains on 4th down. That's the senior DeAndre Richard, and man, when he's healthy, he's a moving truck. So tough to bring down, but has that blend of elusiveness with him as well. Push it inside the 40 to the Harding Raiders 38. Kayla out with Richard. Single receiver each way. Out of the shotgun, Kayla takes the snap. 3-step drop, looking over the middle, and it's in the air. Intercepted that time by Donovan Solero McCoy. And he goes all the way down past the 50 before being shoved out of bounds off the big tipped interception. He was able to hold on to it as well after it went up into the air. After you make initial contact with it, it takes so much focus, and Solero McCoy showed just that. The senior comes down with the INT. Big momentum swinging play as the Raiders now start at the Falcon 46. We mentioned 36 matchups previous between these two teams. 19 and 17 are the Falcons. Fitch has actually won the last 4 matchups against the Raiders. Raiders trying to get back in the win column, trying to bring that a game closer to 500 all time. This will be a big punch that they can throw early on. Staying out of the shotgun. Big run right out of the gate. Chaz Coleman, the standout quarterback, ton of speed. He could use his arm, and he'll burn you with his arm if you're not careful, but you expect him to utilize his legs primarily in this matchup. So quick, so elusive. They're going to run that read option. Try to have a ton of success with that. It's where their bread and butter has been. Devin Morgan, receiver. It's Coleman, the handoff, and tackle. Minimizes the gain to a yard as B.J. Coleman, the senior. Got it for a yard. 3rd down coming up now. Raiders now trying to convert on 3rd and 2. 6:15 and ticking. First quarter of play. Scoreless here from Austintown. Raiders will send twin receivers to the left. Out of the shotgun, single back in the backfield with Chaz Coleman. That's B.J. Coleman. Chaz to B.J. on the handoff. They're going up the middle with it. B.J. cuts back, but they're going to say forward progress. Going to get him close to the line to gain, but it is going to bring up 4th down. So call it 4th and a yard, about a full yard on that here for the Raiders. You're on the right side of the field. You're inside the Falcon 40. You got to expect them to stay aggressive with it. But you really feel like if you're Harding, you have to convert this. If you don't extend this drive and give it right back to Fitch, it almost feels like that interception gets snuffed out momentum-wise, and they're going to go with the keeper and the sneak and get a healthy gain on it for a 1st down. Push the chains forward, set them up with a fresh set. It's 1st down Raiders. Bringing in a couple of subs. Receiver-wise, Devon Morgan in, as well as Marcus Crum Jr. for the Raiders. 5:15 on the Falcon 33-yard line. Raiders, single receiver to the right of Chaz Coleman, standing out of the shotgun. Running back B.J. Coleman stands behind him as the tailback. The shotgun snap, the toss to B.J. Coleman. Falcons get early penetration, stay with it, get the tackle in the backfield. Loss. It looks like a 5 on the play for Harding. On the tackle, I believe that was number 8, Markey Fitzgerald, the junior linebacker. No, check that, number 4, Wayne Holloway, a sophomore defensive back on it. Sophomore comes up with a big tackle, pushes the Raiders back. 2nd and 15 now, the scenario for Harding. We're going to spread things out a little bit. 4 receivers set. Keep the running back on the right hip of Chaz Coleman out of the shotgun. Takes a 3-step drop, fires to the flat, has the completion there, and some extra work to be done afterwards. Oh, he slips another tackle. Still on his feet, and they finally bring him down inside the red zone. What a grab, what a dance to follow. That was number 9 for them, Maurice Coleman Bay. Another one of their seniors. A lot of senior leadership on this Harding squad. Standing at the 16-yard line of the Falcons. Raiders knocking on the end zone's door. Can pick up one more 1st down before it's an and goal scenario. Now that single receiver out wide to the right. Coleman with a single back on the left hip. They'll pitch it, toss it that way. Either trying to find the edge and rushed out of bounds. Gave it to Steven Sims. And Sims able to pick up about 2.5 on that first down carry. Got out of bounds, stopped the clock at 3:21 here in the first quarter. Chaz Coleman sends one out wide, and Marcus Crum Jr. The snap, Chaz the keeper, searching for a seam. He'll push it all the way to the 10. That'll bring up third down, but it's third and manageable as the Falcons get the stop, but the Raiders need 3 for the first. Would be the final first down they could pick up, would be first and goal scenario. Now line to gain is at the Falcons 7-yard line. Matthew Richardson coming in off the Harding sideline for this play. Coleman Bay stands to the right for Chaz Coleman. Fire over the middle on the slant, and it's caught for the touchdown. Through the coverage, didn't matter. On the grab out of the slant, looks like number 21 for the Raiders, Devon Morgan. From 10 yards out. I'll back them up here for the extra point try. 2:31 here in the first quarter. Raiders up 6. Looking to tack on the extra point. Back to kick it, Jerron Edmonds, the sophomore. And the ball on the ground, and the Raiders going to just have to eat it. As not even an attempt for the kick. They'll stay at 6. But the Raiders do strike first as the interception sets up the score. Chaz Coleman to Devon Morgan, 10 yards out for the TD. Now the Falcons set up for the kickoff. First drive, you got into Raider territory, but it stalled out with the interception. You're obviously looking for better success here. So the Falcons, despite the score, still have an opportunity to take a lead with this drive. As that missed extra point could loom large as this game progresses. Edmonds boots it away. It'll take a bounce near the 32, picked up and rushing forward to about the 37. Look like Devanzo Tate, the junior, on the return. So set the Falcons up with solid field position for their second drive of the game. The turnover turned into points the first time around. Falcons going to have to play cleaner football in this go around. Brady Evans, receiver featured heavily for the Falcons in their passing game. He's out on the field, one of those twins, but they give it to Richard. Oh, what a tackle. In on it was Chaz Coleman, the other side. Oh, off the tackle for a loss, too. Losing a yard was Richard. It's 2nd and 11. Two receivers to the right for Kayla. Richard stand in the backfield with him. Out of the shotgun looking for the edge. Richard able to slip through. Oh, look at the cut by Richard. He's past the 50 to the 40 of the Raiders. Big run by the Falcons. A field flipper. He took that cut. He used the turbo to speed ahead for some extra yards. Now back in Raider territory. That's been a constant that has worked in this first quarter for the Falcons. Getting the ball to DeAndre Richard has paid off multiple times for them. See if they continue to utilize him here from the Raider 40. Single receiver to the right for Kayla. The snap, tried to get Richard. Richard able to evade the first tackle. Avoids the second, spins through a third, and gets to the 30. DeAndre Richard making it happen with the rock. Breaking multiple tackles on that rush for 9. 2nd and 1. 40 seconds and ticking. 10 seconds separate the game clock from the play clock. The Falcons will have to run one more play here in the first quarter. One receiver each way. Kayla looking to get someone to jump, and they will. The encroachment on the Raiders going to give the Falcons a free first down and push them forward 5. So set up at the Raider 26-yard line now. Falcons do not have to, or they do have to run a play, excuse me. Put one into motion, and they'll get another jump by the Raiders. So a free 10 yards now. Call it 1st and 5 now for Fitch. And now the Falcons shouldn't have to run a play in this first quarter. And they won't. So that'll take us to the second, as a low-scoring first quarter play sees the Raiders with a 6-0 edge as Chaz Coleman to Devon Morgan. 10 yards out for the touchdown as the Raiders in front as we go to our second 12 minutes of action here on YSNLive.com. Love our friends over with NST Sports, one of our proud sponsors with YSNLive.com. We're back here for the start of the second quarter from Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium. Falcon band playing loud and proud currently as Fitch looking for a score. On the 1st down and 5 run goes to the edge, and it gets pushed out of bounds near the 5-yard line. First down and 5. Falcons on the Raider 5-yard line. They hand off, looking for the edge, fighting through some pressure and finding the end zone. Richard from 5 yards out for the touchdown. So first play of the second quarter works out well for the Falcons, giving them the tie game. As the Kick is up, and it is good for Anthony Ruggles to give Fitch the 7-6 lead. So the Falcons now up 7-6. Following that score by DeAndre Richards, striking from 5 yards out. Anthony Ruggles gets ready to kick it away. As Ruggles puts the boot into it and puts it through the back of the end zone for a touchback. So with the Falcons 7-6 lead, 11:47 to go here on the first half. Raiders to take over from the 20. First drive worked out pretty well. Passing touchdown for Chaz Coleman. Looks to lead the Raiders on another drive. Now trailing by a point. Coleman, the toss out to B.J. Coleman, looking for the edge on the left side, and not really much room to be had there. Tackled down as it'll be second down and about 9 to go. Raiders staying in the huddle. Break it and send a single receiver out wide to the right near side of your screen. That's Marcus Crum Jr. Again, toss it out to B.J. Coleman, looking to pass out as it'll go out of bounds. Pass outside of the pocket. Looked like the intended target was Morgan, but it was overthrown, so third down now on Warren Harding. Big third down coming up for Warren Harding. They're going to empty the backfield, spread things out. And prior to the snap, take a timeout. That'll be the first timeout for the Raiders of the first half. Both teams remaining with 2. We'll take a quick break with them back after this. Out of that timeout. Raiders back on the field. Take the snap, pass over the middle as incomplete. So bring up fourth down and 9 for the incompletion by Coleman. Raiders now look to punt. Coleman boots it away. Hauled in at the 40. Evans slips past the first tackle and gets tackled down following that at the 45. So Evans will give the Falcons solid field position as forcing the punt deep in their own territory of the Raiders. Sets the Falcons up as well with solid field position. Back it up actually a little from the 45. It looks like the 42, 43 yard line is where Fitch will be set up their own. Nonetheless, Falcons lead it by a point and a chance to add. 10:40 remaining in the first half. Third drive of the game for Fitch. One receiver each way. Kaylaher hands off to Richard. Richard on the delay run, able to get a gain after first contact game in the backfield. They were trying to get a loss on Richard, but instead he's able to pick up 3. Second down and 7 to go here. Second down and 8, excuse me, to go. Fitch brings Brady Evans to the near side of the screen as their one receiver. Trying to go back to the ground game, that time with Junie Higgs. And Higgs will pick up an additional 2. But it brings up third down. Falcons at danger of stalling out here on a 3-and-out potentially. Raiders looking for a stop at 3rd and 6. Falcons bring 4 receivers out in the set, 2 each way. Standing out of the shotgun is Kayla, one running back on his right hip. The snap, the fake, play action look. 7-step drop, and they pass over the middle and get maybe back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard as Brady Evans on the completion. Brings up 4th down for Fitch. The Falcons now have to punt it away. Nice job by the Raider defense forcing a 3-and-out, which started with good field position there as well. Called for the fair catch. Play it where it lands, and it will land near the 10. So the Raiders again have a big field in front of them to work with as they'll start on their own 10-yard line, trailing by a point here in this one. Important to note, Raiders will receive the second half kickoff, so that can also play a big factor going forward in this quarter, as they could have the potential to have a 2-for-1 opportunity. Staying out of the shotgun. Hand it off, and the run goes about maybe a yard, if that. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Calling about a half-yard on the carry. And they'll give him the full yard. Second down and 9. Offense. It's been a tough to come by in this one, as only one touchdown both teams is defensively. Raiders coming up with an interception. Falcons forcing a couple of punts now. Pass goes screen way to the far side of the field on the screen pass and run. See where he went out of bounds at. Looked like near the 5 or near the 15. Ultimately, maybe a yard past it. Third down and about 5 to go. Raiders now at risk of a potential 3 and out. 7:23 remaining in the half. James Jones in as the quarterback right now for the Raiders. Jones will take the snap. Looking to pass, goes over the middle. Staying on his feet. Nice catch by Matthew Richardson, and that extra fight, it looks like moves the chains forward as Richardson caught it at the line of scrimmage and fought forward for 5 to pick up the first. Low snap, handed off. As Sims takes it all the way to near the 30, maybe the 29-yard line where they'll spot him, but a good gain on first. Brings up second down and about 3 to go. Second down and 2, check that. Spot him at the 29. Three receivers to the right, the snap, the keeper. And it looks like a first down as Jones able to get it to about the 33, 34. Move the chains. Another first down for the Raiders. Raiders will keep the three receivers to the left. James Jones, the sophomore quarterback. Stays on the field, stays out of the shotgun. Shifts Steven Sims to the side, goes to the screen pass, and again the Raiders pick up a big gain on first down. Call it second and looks like 1. Raiders offense finding a rhythm here with 5 minutes and ticking in the second quarter. Back to Sims on the ground. Sims gets the first down and shoved out of bounds after. Don't get it to the 45-yard line. Warren Harding's 45 as they near midfield. Another nice gain by Sims. Raiders playing in a nice tempo right now with this drive. Starting at the 10. Accumulated 35 yards already on it. Passing is Jones. Got it passed on the completion out to number 29, Crum Jr. Nice completion by Jones to get the first. Crum Jr., one of the favorite targets in this Raider receiving corps as he's the leader for yards per game. in the receiving category, over 21. The snap, the handoff, and Sims pushes it to that Falcon 42. Second down and 7. Raiders trying to leave no time left on the clock and set up that 2-for-1 opportunity. Could give them a potential 2-possession lead if they play their cards right. Raiders with 3 receivers to the left, and a flag comes out. And a sideline warning. Sideline warning addressed to the Raiders. Just a warning, first one. No actual penalty or loss of yardage on the play. Keep it on the ground, go back to B.J. Coleman, and not really much to be had. Was waiting for something to open up, nothing did. And 3rd and long forced now on the Raiders. Devon Morgan in for the Raiders. Also going to bring Sims back in as the lead back. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Jones out of the shotgun for Harding. It's 3rd and 6. 1 into motion, fake on the jet sweep, staying in the pocket, passing downfield. Open is Morgan, and incomplete. Nice defense that time by Travion Davis, the senior Davis. The pat down. And the 4th down. The Raiders look to bring out the punt unit. Nicely thrown ball by Jones. James Jones put it in the territory. Nice defensive stop, though, by Davis. And now 4th down coming up in the punt. A sky one by Coleman. Looking to take a bounce, and they will. Nicely pinned back. Looks like the 13, maybe the 12 where it crossed out at. Well, the Falcons with 2:08 to go and 2 timeouts, looking to add to their 1-point lead before the halftime break. We've mentioned it before, the Raiders do start the second half with possession. So if you are on the Falcon side, you're trying to maximize points here. Try to cushion that fact that the Raiders will start with the ball. Raiders obviously trust in this defense. That's why you don't stay aggressive on 4th down and go for it on the offensive side. Trying to get a stop, keep the score what it is, and get the ball to start the second half. Kelleher standing in the pocket, passing downfield, open man, bobbling it. Oh, he brought it down! Brady Evans, who else? Mr. Incredible. He comes down with another highlight reel catch. Had one a couple of weeks ago in the end zone. The extreme focus that Evans has. Older brother Tyler Evans plays for West Virginia as a receiver, and you can see those receiver roots run deep in the Evans family. Flag comes in following, and it might be on the Falcons for a sideline warning. No initial signal. Well, let's see. They're going to wave the flag off. I'm assuming that's what they were addressing, was a sideline warning. Minute 45. Give it to Junie Higgs. Higgs, nice gain on first down. Pushes it forward about 5, maybe even 6. Minute 30 and ticking. Trying at the very least to get it in field goal range for Anthony Ruggles. Kaylaher stands out of the shotgun, 3 receiver set, 3-step drop, out of the pocket, the pass too deep, flag comes in, and I think they're gonna call PI on it. And that's what the initial call is. Didn't get a chance shouting out our officials. Here as John Patton, our head referee, makes the call. Lou Cardona is the umpire. Line judge is Randy Patterson. Tony Tarantino is your head linesman. And the back judge is Brad DiTullio. Our officials today. .63 seconds to go. First half of play. Falcons now in the Raider red zone. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Two receivers left, 2 to the right. Off of that right hash. A whistle blown and a timeout taken. Falcons utilizing one of them. 1:03 left to go. First half of play. Falcons knocking on the door of getting some extra points. Raiders trying to thwart that opportunity. We'll find out what happens in that final minute 3 when we get back after this. Love our friends at Belleria, one of the proud sponsors here of your sports network. As we're back for the final minute 3 of this first half between the Harding Raiders and the Fitch Falcons. Falcons up 7-6, looking to score before the end of this first half. Raiders get the ball to start the second. Kaylaher, the 5-step drop, trying to roll out of his pocket. Passing on the move, and they're going to say a completion, getting out of bounds near the 10-yard line. It'll be second down and about 1. But getting out of bounds pays off big for the Falcons as it stops the clock with 55 seconds to go. You do have a timeout left. It's essentially their insurance timeout for the Falcons. If they have a sack or go down in open field, you could still stop the clock. Put the ball on the ground. Give it to DeAndre Richard. Look at Richard bulldozing over the Raiders and getting it all the way to the goal line. Richard so elusive slipping tackles, but once you finally get your hands on him, trying to bring him down is a whole nother story. Falcons on the cusp. Back to Richard. Richard through the end zone for the touchdown. DeAndre Richard, his second touchdown of the quarter, gives the Falcons the 7-point lead. Comes with 40 seconds here in the quarter. That one came from 4 yards out. And the kick is up, and it is good. Second made extra point today by Ruggles. So now, for the Raiders, you got 40 seconds left. You have 2 timeouts. How aggressive do you get with offense? And I think it all depends, really, where you end up on this kick return. Ruggles, known for putting it through the back of the end zone. He gets some of the most touchbacks, I think, in the entire YSN family. And in this case, that might be exactly what you want. Otherwise, if the Raiders start at the 20, you might just see them keep it on the ground. Maybe if something pops off for a 10, 15-yard gain, you might try to take some shots, but With the Raiders getting the ball to start the second half, I mean, you would like the 2-for-1 opportunity, but you don't want to force anything here. Ruggles ready's up for the kick. He'll boot it away, and he'll boot it through the back of the end zone for a touchback. So bring it out to the 20. As we said, the Raiders do have 2 timeouts remaining. So in having that second timeout, it's big because it at least gives you 2 opportunities. If you're trying to pass, you could hit the middle of the field. Try to get chunk plays here to at least get yourself in field goal position. If you're in field goal position, which for the Raiders you would think is pretty much anything inside that 30-yard line. Chaz Coleman does have a heck of a leg and stuff you feel comfortable with. It's probably inside the 30-yard line realistically. Raiders put Sims into motion. Coleman looking to pass. Now going to take off. No, stays on his feet. Now tosses it out. Little miscommunication, but able to come back and make the catch that time. Nice job by Devon Morgan to read that. Morgan running off the route and then saw the ball in the air, came back to get it. And the completion does keep the clock running, and the Raiders are going to have to utilize that timeout. Coming with 17 seconds to go in the half. And if you're Warren Harding, you're pretty much limited with the 1 timeout remaining to 2, maybe 3 plays now here in the half. We'll see, unless they were able to get a timeout off earlier than when the clock actually stopped, which happens more often than you think. See, officials adjust the game clock all the time here at the high school level. A couple officials are talking. Falcons come back off from the sideline. Far sideline for the Falcon faithful as the Raiders. Coleman takes the snap at the knees. Drops back, passes over the middle, finds Sims. Sims breaks away all the way to the 50, and they're going to be able to take a timeout and get an opportunity for a Hail Mary pass. You feel comfortable, I would think, from the 50 to take your shots. With 8 seconds to go, it's tough if you're going to get a second play. You're likely thinking this is one. You just feel lucky if you have an extra second or so on the clock after the end of this play to get a second. But you're playing this as it's your last play of the half. They're actually on the Falcon 49. The biggest thing is offensive line just needs to give your quarterback enough time to your quarterback and your receivers enough time to get the play off, as your receivers need to get to the end zone for Coleman to be able to make the pass. They are back to Coleman, too, with this drive after James Jones commanded the rock under center the last time out. Falcons going to only rush 4, and they're going to back everyone else up. 4 in a second level of defense and 3 all the way out. Chaz Coleman looking for the fire downfield, and it'll be intercepted by the Falcons. A flag is out by the line of scrimmage. Clock has reached triple zeros. It all depends on if it's on the Raiders. Raiders act like it is. They're running off the field. And it was a holding call on Warren Harding. Fitch going to elect to decline the penalty and take it into halftime with the 14-6 lead. Raiders able to punch first on the passing touchdown by Chaz Coleman to Devon Morgan, but the Falcons find the end zone twice off the back of DeAndre Richard from 5 yards out and 4 yards out. for the 14-point second quarter of play. They are everything electric, and we are everything sports. Hello, everybody. Ty Bartell, YSNLive.com. Welcomes you back with the start of this second half here between the Austintown Fitch Falcons and the Warren Harding Raiders. The 37th edition of this matchup between these two upper division schools. Raiders to start with possession here in the second half, trailing by 8, so they can knot this thing back up. They play their cards right with this drive. Raiders have 3 back, all inside the 5, ready to potentially return one. Ruggles puts his boot into it, and it'll bounce out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. So the third quarter starts with a touchback, bring it out to the 20-yard line as the Raiders start their first drive of the second half. Raiders, off of an interception, was able to put together a nice drive on a short field, culminating with a Chaz Coleman touchdown pass to Devon Morgan. That came at 2:31 in the first quarter of play. Since that point, Raiders have yet to score again. Would love to put the right pieces in play, move down the field here in this first drive. Coleman looks to be the quarterback back out for the Raiders. They went to 2, both him and James Jones in that first half. Empty backfield, they'll send one into motion on the sweep. A nice cut, cutting diagonally up the field, and getting about 4 on the carry was Aries Coleman Bay, and senior. Off the 4-yard gain, call it second down and 6. Coleman. Again, empty backfield for him, stands out of the shotgun. One into motion, a keeper by Coleman, Sims rather. As rushed past and tackled down. I'll correct myself the last time. That was Jamal Martin, number 18 for the Raiders. Senior quarterback that time. And one of the Falcons down following the first down from Warren Harding. So with the injury, we'll take a timeout. Back after this. Injury concern was to Junie Hicks. He was able to walk off the field under his own power, so good sight to see, no doubt, for the Falcons. Raiders, though, off of the first down. Jamal Martin goes to the screen pass side. Coleman Bay, open lane down the side. Flag comes in. First down catch and run as it stands right now. Let's see what the flag's on. I think they're calling a holding penalty on the Raiders is what it was initially signaled as. I'll call it from the spot of the penalty. Back it up 10 yards from there, so it'll be a first down and about, looks like 7. Martin goes back to Coleman Bay. Coleman Bay, look at those fancy feet all the way past the 50, still up on his feet. And finally shoved out of bounds near the 45-yard line. Raiders push it to the right side of the 50 in Falcon territory now. Jamal Martin Stays empty. They'll bring Coleman Bay into motion again. Keeper by Martin. Martin will just take it up the middle, and will end up picking up about 4 yards on the keeper. Third quarterback that the Raiders have shoveled out there today. And this one, they're running that read option with Coleman Bay, running that jet sweep. Keep those 3 receivers to the left. Keep it empty in the backfield with Martin out of the shotgun. Coleman Bay able to get it all the way down to the 35, it looks like, as another nice gain by Coleman Bay for the Raiders. Just stopped a yard short, but you feel like you're going to be aggressive here if you're Warren Harding. It's 3rd and 1. 8:30 and ticking here in the third quarter. Martin rolls to his left, slips a couple tackles, falls forward for the first down, just enough. Martin, a senior, listed as a quarterback and defensive back for the Raiders. He's marching them down the field right now. Down to the Falcon 33. 34. And around there in between those yard marks. First and 10 Raiders. Keep the backfield empty. 3 receivers to the right now of Martin. And a couple jump prior to the snap. It looked like both Devon Morgan and Marcus Crum Jr. jumped on it, so back them up 5. First false start. Second penalty, I should say, on the Raiders in this half. First and 15 now for Warren Harding. Martin looks to get it in the screen pass play and able to push him out of bounds near the 42, and a flag comes in following. I think they're going to get unsportsmanlike on the Falcons here, so that should push them forward an additional 15 following the play, if that is indeed the call on the field. Expect the personal foul call here. And it is a personal foul on the Falcons. So 15 yards added to the end of that. First down Raiders. And this drive working out exactly like Warren Harding wanted it to. They push it all the way inside the 25 to the 24. Running a different look. James Jones now at a quarterback. Throwing the kitchen sink at him, and that one just runs into a wall. Sims tried to push it up through the middle of the pile, and then the pile closed up. 2nd and 10. Raiders, a trifecta of quarterbacks here in today's game. Jones started seeing some time in that second quarter. He's back out here for the third. Trying to go with a hard snap. And give him 3 running back options settled around him. 2 receivers, 1 each way. Taking the snap, looking for that one-on-one matchup. It's caught into the end zone for the touchdown. It was number 29, Marcus Crum Jr., the senior, for 6. Raiders a 2-point play away from tying it up now. 6:11 to go in the quarter. Raiders looking for the 2. A snap, the keeper, Falcons. Try to get in on the tackle, waiting for a signal. They're going to put up, I think they're putting up a closed fist. Closed fist says 2-point try, failed on that. But nonetheless, nice pass from Jones to Marcus Crum Jr. So the Falcons preserve the lead, 14-12, but the Raiders, big touchdown out of the gates, first drive of the second half. That was 6:11 remaining. Look to boot it away. Took a healthy amount of time too, culminating that with 6. 5 minutes, 49 seconds on that drive. Little squib. And they're going to let the free kick go out of bounds, will the Falcons, and they'll get an additional 15 tacked onto that. We got the inside info up here, too. Chaz Coleman, jersey, ripped. So it's not Jamal Martin out there. It's just Coleman donning the number 18 jersey. First and 10, Falcons at the 35, put it on the ground with Richard. Richard following his blockers to the 40. Ball is loose. Raiders saying they have it, and they do. It's Raider football. Richard, the fumble and the turnover, and Warren Harding gets the ball back with 6:03 to go here in the third. What a big-time turnover for the Raiders. Just coming off of that score, getting the ball right back and a chance to apply some more pressure now. So that's Chaz Coleman donning the number 18 coming out for the Raiders. It was James Jones who threw the touchdown pass earlier in the quarter, so both quarterbacks, Jones and Coleman, with a touchdown pass today. Little trick play, and it goes back to Coleman, firing downfield, open target. They got him inside the 5 to number 5. What a catch. Oh, a flag back at the line of scrimmage. And that's going to back Harding up. Unfortunate, because the Raiders executed it really well up until that point. Call it first down and 15 now. Raiders with 5:54. Harding goes 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Single back out of the shotgun with Coleman. Coleman on the draw. Keeper himself goes forward and gets a nice gain on 1st and 15 all the way to the 35. Ate up more than half the yards needed and set up 2nd down and manageable now for Harding. Bringing in Devon Morgan. Morgan got a touchdown pass earlier with Morgan and Crum Jr. Both seniors. Look to dial their number, I'm sure, going forward. Keeping it on the ground on 2nd down, and it'll pick up about 3 on the carry. Bring up 3rd down now for Warren Harding. Rocco DeFlorio making the tackle to stop it for a 3rd and 3 now. Third down. And 3 to go. Coleman hands it off to Sims. Sims able to carve through the defense and get himself down inside the 20. Mark him in the Falcon red zone and mark a new set of downs for the Raiders. Move the chains. Fresh set of downs for Warren Harding. They go to the Falcon 18. Raiders, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Coleman hands it off. The rush goes inside the 15. Nice gain on 1st down. Three and a half minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Harding has held the ball for 8 minutes in this 3rd quarter in 2 possessions. 5 minutes. 49-second drive, their first drive culminating in 6. Getting it back after a 1-play fumble recovery. And on the drive here, Coleman, the keeper, right up the middle. Look at that speed, and he'll get the 1st down to the Falcon 5. Move the chains. 3:05 to go in the 3rd. Raiders looking for the lead yet again. Haven't held the lead since 11:47 to go in the 2nd quarter. They look to retake it here. Coleman hands it off to B.J. Coleman. B.J. Coleman gets to just the cusp of the end zone and gets stopped there at the 1. And a player down. I believe it might be B.J. Coleman on the injury near the end zone. 2:22 left to go in the 3rd. We take a timeout with them. Back after this. B.J. Coleman walking off gingerly from the field, but he is able to walk off under his own power. It is 2nd down and 2nd and goal, I should say, from the 2-yard line. It looks like 1.5 yard line for the Raiders. As Warren Harding, looking at the scoring breakdown today. 2:31 left in the first quarter. Chaz Coleman to Devon Morgan from 10 yards out for the touchdown. Falcons followed it up with a pair of touchdowns in the second, both by DeAndre Richard on the ground. One from 5 yards out, one from 1 yard out. First one coming at 11:47, beginning of the second quarter. Second coming in with, at the end, 40 seconds remaining. Harding then with 6:11 to go in the third quarter. James Jones, different quarterback, finds Marcus Crum Jr. in the end zone from 24 yards out. And that score stands where it is today. Raiders look to push the pile into the end zone, and they will for the touchdown and the lead. Harding gets the 1 yard as they push the pile across the end zone. 2:14 to go, the 1 yard rush for the touchdown, the 18-14 lead. Two-point conversion coming up now for Harding. Coleman bobbles it. They're trying to tackle him, but he'll slip it and get it through for two. Chaz Coleman, the 2-point is good. So the lead goes 20-14 in favor of the Raiders now. So Chaz Coleman, the touchdown in the air, the touchdown on the ground, and the 2-pointer to follow. As the Raiders up by a full 6 now. 2:14 to go here in quarter number 3. Falcons now to get it back. Third quarter has been a nightmare one for Fitch, as Harding outscoring them 14-0. Raiders with 2:14 left to go in the quarter. They've held the ball for over 9 minutes in the quarter. It goes off the Falcons. They try to recover it, and they do hold on to it. Almost a disastrous play, and a flag comes out following it. Almost. We talk about a nightmare quarter. That literally would cap it off there if the Falcons turn it over on the kickoff, and they almost did. Live ball after the first touch, and they were having trouble securing it. They're going to call unsportsmanlike conduct, I think, on the Raiders to follow, so this will give the Falcons additional yards to play with. Get them all the way to the 37 of Warren Harding. Big opportunity on a short field for Austintown Fitch. On the delay to the handoff. Brought to the ground after getting to the 35. Gain of 2 on the play. Second down and 8. Falcons, one receiver each way. Extra tight ends up on the front lines. Fake to Richard, looking downfield on the seam to Evans. Brady Evans looking for the completion. Nice defense that time by Matthew Richardson on the coverage. Third down now for Fitch. Fitch takes the field, 3rd and 8. Third down and 8. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Single back in the backfield with Kayla Herc. Handed off to Richard. DeAndre Richard fights his way to the 30 of the Raiders, and it'll bring up 4th down and short. So now decision time. It is in Anthony Ruggles' range for a field goal kick, but are you really going to put this as a 3-point game, or are you going to stay aggressive? Fitch going to stay aggressive. It's 4th and 3. Keep the offense out there. Raiders fans getting loud. One into motion, it's Evans. And we're going to take the timeout. Will the Falcons with 47 seconds to go here in quarter number 3. We'll take a timeout with them. Ty Bartel, YSNLive.com. We're back after this. 4th down and 3 here for the Falcons. They're keeping the offense out there. It's Kayla Herr with Richard out of the shotgun. Single receiver to the left is Evans. They're bunching things up. 4th and 3. Falcons trying to keep it on the ground. Push the pile forward. It's going to be very close to the first, depending on the spot. It depends on where they say the spot. We haven't gotten a signal yet. They're going to look at the spot of the football. Steven Sims, or no, Chaz Coleman, rather, getting an extra close look on the field. They're going to measure it, bring the chains out to the field to determine this spot. And it's going to be short by just a bit. Turnover on downs. Back to the Raiders. Raiders take over inside their own 30, leading by 6. And a big drive here by Warren Harding could spell the end of this one. Raiders feeling all the momentum, trying to capitalize on it some more. Jones rather takes the field. 3 to the right for him. Single back in the backfield. That looks like Sims on the right hip. Keeper by Jones. Jones runs into the pile, stays on his feet, fights forward for some extra yards. Call it 2nd down, and it looks like 4. 2nd down and 3, check me. Short. 2nd down and short situation for the Raiders. And we'll take it, though, to the end of the 3rd quarter. What a game it's been to this point. We got a final 12 minutes of action from Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium. It's the Warren Harding Raiders 20, the Austintown Fitch Falcons 14. Ty Bartel, YSNLive.com. We're back after this. Back here for the start of the 4th quarter. Raiders in the middle of a drive, 2nd down and 3. Keep it on the ground. Get up the middle with it as Sims with the carry, but a flag comes in. Holding on the Raiders. From the spot, it looks like it was the original line of scrimmage. They're going to back them up from. Back him up to the 25-yard line. Second down and 13 now for the Raiders. Jones has it batted down. Nice job on the defensive stop that time. That looked like number 50 for the Falcons, Dylan Paventi, sophomore defensive lineman. And to knock it down, bring up third down, 3rd and 13 now. Big third down coming up. Raiders look to convert. They need to get to their own 38-yard line for the first. .11:31, fourth quarter of play. Raiders 3rd and 13 coming up. Falcons trail it by 6, trying to get the ball back. Jones sends one into motion, takes the snap, looks to his left, fires that way to Sims. Flag comes in, completion is down to Coleman. Coleman staying on his feet, finally tackled down near the 45. And I think they're going to call pass interference anyway on the Falcons, so add another additional few yards to the Raiders on that third down completion. They got it to Coleman. First down, get it to the 47 for Warren Harding. Raiders up by 6. The snap, the handoff goes up the middle for 2. From 2nd and 8, 10:23 and ticking in the game. Raiders. Jones takes the snap, looks to pass, finds the target near the 45, and finally brought down. That time was Crum Jr. Another set of downs for the Raiders. Bring him down to the Falcon 40, actually just inside of it to the 39. 10 minutes and ticking in the game. Big drive here for the Raiders, hoping to culminate with points as they lead it by 6, trying to make it a 2-possession game. Jones. The snap, the keeper. Trying to get the edge. He'll only get about a yard on the keeper. 2nd and 9. Raiders. From 2nd and 9, show 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Jones and Sims, the duo out of the shotgun. Shift the running back Sims to that right hip of Jones. And between the hash marks, taking the snap, immediately passes it off in the screen play. Bobbing and weaving as Richardson through the defense. Close to a first down. It will bring up 3rd and short. Coming up for Harding. Looking like about 3rd and 2, I believe. Or they're going to mark it. Third down, 2 to go. Jones with Sims on his right hip. Raiders have 4 receivers out, 3 to the right, 1 to the left. They've already converted a third down once on this drive. Jones, the keeper, looking to get it himself. And they're going to push the pile back at the 30 and bring up 4th down. And with 4th down, the Raiders, decisions here. They're going to change the personnel up a little bit. Look like Chaz Coleman's coming back in to try to get that extra yard. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Falcons trying to stack that box. Coleman, the keeper, looking for the seam. And he'll get it. 1st down all the way to the 26, it looks like. 26-27. New set of downs. 4th down conversion for the Raiders on this drive. So they have a 3rd and a 4th down conversion now. Keeping the drive alive. Keeping the hope for points, extra points alive to extend this lead. Six minutes, 45 seconds to go in the game. Jones passing the screen to Richardson. Richardson speed rushes his way towards the 20. And he'll get it there. 2nd down, and it looks like 2 set up for the Raiders. Raiders rhythm. Offense flowing now. Clock continues to move, 6:15 and moving. 2nd and 2 for Harding. Jones checking off on that sideline. Taking the snap, looking to fire it towards the end zone. The pass completed to Chaz Coleman. Bring it down. The senior had the mismatch, and he has the big catch for 6. On the touchdown now, looking for either extra point or 2-point conversion here. 2-point will give you the 28-14 lead, the full 2-touchdown lead, and I think that's what the Raiders are thinking here. So the Raiders with a 14-0 third quarter. Actually, you take it all the way in the second half. The Raiders have outscored the Falcons 20-0 in this second half of play. And looking to add a little bit more. I think they're going to go for 2 here. It would make sense to try to get the full 2-touchdown lead. Mari Johnson coming out of the Raiders sideline as the receiver on the far side, near side to the left. Coleman, the keeper, gets the edge and gets another 2-point conversion. So now the Falcons' backs really against the wall, trailing by 14, and you really need points on this drive. Game's not over yet, but that one was a heavy blow by the Raiders. But the Falcons have gotten out of dicier situations in the past before. What it comes down to, though, is you need big plays to rattle off. Think about the fact 14 points, too, coming off of Falcon turnovers. One an interception in that first quarter, the other a fumble here back in the third quarter. Harding scored promptly after getting both of those turnovers. 5:52, Falcons ready to receive. Huron Edmonds on the spot kick. Gives the Falcons a shorter field here toward the 47. So Fitch starting with a shorter field this time and a chance to try to move the ball down the field in a quicker fashion. You have 2 timeouts left remaining if you're the Falcons. Raiders with 2 as well. Kaylaher with Richard on his right hip. 2 receivers to the left. Put one into motion. That's Evans. Fake it to both of them. Staying in the pocket. Firing downfield and incomplete. Had the edge and had the step, did Braden Bryant. But the pass just too strong. 2nd and 10. Took 6 seconds off the clock, 5:46 left in the game. Falcons need points this drive, no other way to have it. Three receivers set for Fitch. Kaylaher, the snap, staying in the pocket. Now rushes out of it, fires, nice job on the move, getting it to DeAndre Reed. Reed all the way down to the 10. Big play, Falcons needed it. And one of the players down for Fitch. That'll slow things down at 5:36 to go here in the fourth quarter. But the Falcons, with a big play, set up 1st and goal and an opportunity to get some points right back. Playing against the clock, though, if you are Austintown, Fitch. But on the flip side, if you are the Falcons, you're looking at this and you're looking at the fact that you've only taken 16 seconds off the clock and you're set up with a 1st and goal scenario. You really couldn't have asked for anything better than what Fitch has been able to start with this drive. But you need to cap it off with points. Falcons did not utilize a timeout. Injury timeout just stopped the clock, so they got a chance to talk things over and come up with a play for this 1st down attempt. Chains are dropped. It's 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Fitch trailing by 14, needing some points. Clock started on the whistle. It's 5:30 and moving in the game. The snap, handoff to Richard. Richard looks for the edge. Richard slips past the tackler and into the end zone for 6. DeAndre Richard, the hat trick, his 3rd touchdown of the game. Looking for the extra point. Ball is down, kick is up. Ruggles splits the uprights. It's good. And it's a 1-touchdown game. So that worked out exactly as the Falcons really wanted it to. They only shaved 36 seconds off the clock in that drive. 36 seconds to go a little over 50 and culminate with 6. But now you need a stop on defense, and it's been a Harding offense that's been humming. They have scored in the last 3 drives consecutively, all touchdowns. You almost wonder if the Falcons might try to pull a rabbit out of their hat here and pull out something out of the old trick playbook. Raiders have been burned by the little squib kick recovery, a little onside kick recovery that the Falcons do out of the huddle before. That was a handful of seasons ago, and they've been eyeing it up for that exact play ever since. Ruggles ready to boot it away. 5:16 to go in the ball game. The kick is away. It's angling towards the end zone, and it'll bounce out of the back of it for a touchback. Bring it out to the 20. Falcons looking for a stop. Raiders looking to ice the game with some points. Fitch was able to force a 3rd and long scenario and a 4th and short scenario on the Raiders their last drive. Harding was able to convert both of those attempts on their way to a touchdown. James Jones to Chaz Coleman. Coleman back out there for the Raiders. The keeper from Coleman, he'll run into a pile of Falcons, and they'll minimize his gain to just a couple, if that. Looks like they'll give him a yard. They'll give him the full 2. Maybe even 3, too, where they mark it just shy of the 25. Looks like in between the 23 and 24. 2nd down and 7. First downs, first downs, first downs. That's the name of the game here for the Raiders. If they could keep it on the ground and keep accumulating first downs, they could salt this game away. Falcons hoping for a stop, a turnover, something to spark them on defense. Coleman. Gonna take the snap. Keep it himself. They spied him that time. He'll get past the 25 to the 26, 27-yard line. It will bring up 3rd down. Falcons trying to minimize Coleman's effectiveness with his legs, but he picks up a healthy 4, it looks like, and brings up 3rd and 3. We're under 4 minutes to play in this ball game. Raiders. 3rd and 3, looking to convert. Looking to pass is Coleman, staying in the pocket, breaks free from it, gets all the way to the 35 for a first down. Another conversion for the Raiders. And another set of downs for Harding. Raiders, no hurry to run a play. Falcons do have 2 timeouts left. You got to start thinking about when you want to use those. Two receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Coleman. He'll snap this ball at 3 minutes. Give it to Sims. No, keep it for Coleman. And Coleman will get about 3 to 4 on the keeper. Bring up 2nd down. Falcons trying to force a stop here. Second down, 6 to go for the Raiders. Bringing in new personnel. That's Crum Jr. coming from the near sideline. Raiders take the snap. No, they'll call the timeout. With 2:11 to go here in the fourth quarter of play. Raiders looking for some first downs to get this win here on the road. Ty Bartel, your sports network. We're back after this. Coming out of that timeout from the Raiders. Gives them just one left in the game. Harding with a 2nd and 6. Trying to get first downs to just keep that clock moving. Put it on the ground with Sims. Sims gets shut down after a gain of about 2. Third down now. Timeout taken as the Falcons will utilize one of their final 2, leave them with just 1 as 3rd and 4 is brought up. This could be the ball game, this next play. Raiders get a first down. Falcons only can stop the clock one more time. They should realistically be able to salt away most, if not all, the clock then if they do pick up this first. You got to be thinking in that huddle right now, Coach Parker. Just talking about keeping everything in front of you. You got to make that tackle. There can't be any broken tackles on this one. And Chaz Coleman has been a menace when he's utilized his legs today. Both sides going to get up, get loudy, get rowdy. This could be the game. 3rd and 4. Raiders rush with Coleman. And they are able to get the tackle at the 40. The Falcons shut it down for a 4th down. So Fitch brings up 4th down and 4 with 1:58 to go. And likely the Raiders are going to have to punt. You would think, regardless of what happens here with this next drive, if the Falcons get the ball back, they score it, I can almost feel like you're going for 2 in that instance. You got both teams have playoffs to look forward to next week. You don't want to play a whole ton of extra football if you don't have to, but positioning does matter. I guess you just weigh out those options and see what you want to take going forward. You want the better positioning spot? Is it worth the risk of potential injury and potential wear and tear for extra football for these two teams? And all that doesn't matter until you get the ball back and get it in the end zone if you're Austintown. Defense gave you a chance. Raiders look to boot it away. Try to pin the Falcons back. Brady Evans, the lone returner, back for Fitch. Chaz Coleman, the punter. He'll take it. He'll boot it from his own 30. It'll take a bounce, a friendly one for the Falcons, and it'll stop down at the 34-yard line with 1:50 to go. 2-minute offense drill. Get ready, get moving. As the Falcons, no timeouts left. 1:50 on the clock, trailing by 7. They got to take it. 64 yards, 66 yards rather, for the touchdown. .66 yards, stands in front of the Falcons, trailing by 7. Kalaher out of the shotgun. Takes the snap, pass in the pocket, incomplete, bouncing off the ground. 5 seconds shaved off the clock there, 1:45 to go in the ball game. Brady Evans, Braden Bryant, two receivers to the right, two receivers to the left for Kayla Hur. Kayla Hur stays in the pocket, looking to pass. Ball is loose. It's picked up on the fumble, and the Raiders culminate into the end zone for the touchdown. And that will do it. Third turnover by the Falcons today spells the end of this one as the Raiders, with a scoop and score, take the 34-21 lead. Looking for the extra point. It's up, it's through, as Jerron Edmonds makes this a 35-21 game. And now with 1:35, the Falcons gonna have to put the offense back out there in a game that's pretty much been decided now. Raiders, Jerron Edmonds, gonna boot it away. 1:35. Taken in near the 25. Tackle down at the 30. You can't really put into words the type of impact Chaz Coleman has had on today's game. A passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, a defensive touchdown. Unbelievable stuff by the Harding senior. And you want to talk about a three-headed monster. He is a three-headed monster. You ever watch all those old Godzilla movies? King Ghidorah, three-headed dragon? That's live look at Chaz Coleman on that field tonight. Doing it everywhere. Passing game, rushing game, defense. Accounting for almost all the points for the Raiders tonight. Falcons go to Junie Higgs in the flat. Higgs gets tackled down after crossing the 35. Kayla Hur. Pass over the middle, hits off the hands of Bryant, and incomplete. 59 seconds remaining in the ball game. Falcons off the incompletion. Kayla Hur takes the snap. Tries to pass in the screen game to Higgs, but overshoots Higgs on that pass attempt. And it's 4th and 5. Falcons able to get the first down on the play out to the 50 with 48 seconds to go. .48 seconds remain. Falcons on the right side of the 50, and they're going to spike it down to just stop the clock. 42 seconds to go in this one. As the Kaler gets out of the jam, tosses it downfield. Flags coming. Oh, that'll back up the Falcons. 33 seconds to go here in this one. Kaler standing in the pocket, firing to the sideline. It's incomplete. .29 seconds remaining in this one. Kaler trying to go to Brady Evans on the catch. And it'll bring up 4th and 19. Likely the last play of the game. Falcons need to get past the Raiders 40 for a first. Show 3 receivers to the right. Looking to pass. Kaler downfield, and it's through the hands of Evans. Incomplete. Turnover on downs. And a kneel down should end this one for the Raiders. Waiting for the thumbs up from the Falcons, too, on this as both teams getting ready for the lineup. It would just be a kneel down here for Warren Harding. Raiders, one play, kneel it down and spell the end of the regular season with a win for the Warren Harding Raiders as they go on the road to spoil the Falcons senior night by a final score of 35-21. And they draw that series total a game closer to 500. Fitch now leads at 19 and 18 all time, but we say all the time that these two teams are oh so close. These games are always oh so competitive, and this edition, the 37th edition of this game, was no different. What a matchup it was, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and watching this broadcast of high school football on ysnlive.com. To our proud owners, both DJ Yoakley and Brian Scott, who were able to bring this game to each and every person unable to make it in attendance tonight. To our GM, Steve Leslie, with his work with Bobstein Park Baseball, YSU Football, and ysnlive.com, the many hats that Mr. Leslie wears, and we thank him for each and every single one of them. And most importantly, to all of you who tuned in and helped support these kids, schools, and communities. You guys are really and truly what YSN Live is all about, and so we thank you. Whether you're from the Warren Harding community and want to get your first taste of ysnlive.com, we want to remind you that YSN is completely free to school, so if you want to have us in the Warren Harding community, it's easy. Email us at info@ysnlive.com. That's info@ysnlive.com. Or if you're right here in our Austintown community supporting your Falcons, we want to thank you for your continued and constant support of not only Austintown Fitch Athletics, but also ysnlive.com, or wherever you may be in the sport of high school football. This is Ty Bartell bidding you all a farewell and a good night, everybody.